Let's talk about superhuman learning and the Jim Kwik's virtual summit that I have been attending for 3 days now. So today was the third day, final day of this event. And wow, my mind is just blown. And I know people say that all the time about when they're attending conferences and whatnot, but Jim definitely delivered throughout this entire time. From day one, when we got the foundational knowledge, yesterday we really got into the mind, the focus, nutrition, sleep, all of that wonderful stuff and how we nurture our brain. And then today we got into some reading aspects and working to speed up our reading. And I can tell you the first test that we did, my reading rate was 26 lines in a minute. And when we came back, what was it up to? Where are my notes real quick? I will find that here. But it definitely increased, and let's see, it went up to 32. So it increased after just one little training session on it. It went up by 6 lines of just implementing from the little bit that we did on the call. I can only imagine what signing up for that entire course of his would actually produce. And I will admit, it is on the bucket list. I have a couple of his other courses that I have already purchased that I will be doing first, but I definitely see the value in learning more about the speed of reading and comprehension skills, because this wasn't just speed reading where start skipping words, that was the complete opposite of what he's teaching. He really dives into meta learning, and I just realized this should have been a slide in and of itself in this to remind myself. But it definitely pays off when we're thinking about the amount of time. And when he talks about reading a book a week and how he actually at times is reading a book a day, and that in itself, when I think of my piles of books around here, just being able to finish a book, actually sitting down and reading a book in a week without it being on audio and high speed, I love that idea. So it is 100% a goal here by the end of this year to take and complete his reading, course to really increase the comprehension. But he also gave us a few strategies. One I absolutely loved, and it's like a variation of a mind map, but it's actually next leveling or providing, and maybe not next leveling, it's maybe providing an alternate approach to the village that I use for product planning. And I can see where this, instead of a spreadsheet, would be really valuable when you're collecting the data on it. So I will definitely, with some of my beta clients, will be testing it out and seeing which one works best for them. But it, of course, is going to vary on the particular person. But my 5 key takeaways from the beginning part of today's session with Jim's part was, a couple of years ago, I dealt with some health issues, and I talked about how I had to become the CEO of my health. And that's actually a term that I've seen out there since then, which makes me happy. But it is taking that ownership. And he referenced as a learner how we need to start becoming the CEO of our learning, because when we're in the entrepreneurial space in particular, and I'm applying it to this space, but it's a you Inc. We are our business. We are what makes and breaks it in many cases. If we go down for the count, our business comes with us in many cases, unless it's something that's just riding along. But as thought leaders and as entrepreneurs building up our personal brands and our businesses around our personal brands, it is about us becoming a you Inc. And I just loved that phrase. So definitely the highlight of it. Then on the left here, he talked about the ways, just kind of some quick strategies for the greater comprehension. He goes into way more. He gave us just the beginning part of it, but it's the read, relate, and write, staying with the R's there. The quick reminder of how the brain is a muscle and there is truth to the use it or lose it ideas. And the other part, because a lot of what I do with my clients is a partnership. And what really stuck out to me was when he was talking about how when we're collaborating, we are creating. And I loved that phrase because, again, when I'm working with a client, I'm not giving a cookie cutter template. I'm not giving you a Word or Mad Lib kind of thing. We're working together to make your program, your course, your product unique to you and your offerings. And then just repeating from yesterday's, and it's hidden behind my laptop here, but in order to manage something, you have to measure it. As a performance person, I 100% love that quote. And so it was worth putting in here 2 days in a row. And then Jessica, Tapping Solution is the app. And if you go to Tapping Solution, I think it was .com, that is where her and her brothers have built this up. I have experienced tapping in the past when I was dealing with some of my health issues, and I started to notice differences. Unfortunately, that was during my era of moving every 2 years. So as I started to see progress, I moved, and then I just never got around. Around here, I wasn't able to find a tapping person locally, and driving an hour and a half for a tapping session every week or other week or whatever I was going, it just became cumbersome. So I now have access to the app. I am definitely giving it a try for the 14-day trial that is available out there. And one fact that I absolutely loved was the studies that she shared, and I just captured that down here. But tapping reduces the stress hormone of cortisol by 43%. When I was at my worst and found a functional doctor, we did a cortisol test on me, and it was through the roof. I mean, it was off the charts, literally. And so this idea that tapping can help reduce that, I will be implementing it every single day, along and probably swapping out a breathwork session with it, because I believe for myself and just monitoring of my body and its needs, tapping is going to be more beneficial than what I have found breathwork to be for me personally and what I have needs of. And then one thing that Jessica just kind of tossed out there is how you have to weed before you plant the seeds. Throughout my life, it's all about those seeds that get planted and then nurtured. But I love that idea that you need to clean the slate. You need to prepare for this stuff. And her final, during one of the Q&A type questions, was PTSD was the topic of conversation, and she shared that the VA has now recognized tapping as an approved therapy through the VA health system, which makes me so happy because the benefits of tapping, especially for PTSD, are huge. There is evidence and research out there. By all means, check it out. If you are a fellow veteran using the healthcare system, definitely inquire about it. I will 100% be inquiring about it because with my what I've dealt with, I know that tapping would be beneficial, even though I have it somewhat managed at this stage of the game. So I definitely was thrilled to hear that little tidbit from her, and we'll be following up with my doctors on that. But of course, this is not me being a medical professional here. While I am the course doctor, I am the course doctor. I am not a medical doctor in any way, although I think that when I was healing myself and became the CEO of my health, I did actually consider going to add that second doctorate on, or the second doctor on there. This was actually Jim Kwik that shared this. I don't know what happened to my little credit to that, but these programs, the programs that we do, and like my program, I loved this because I offer structure. Jim offers structure. We are not offering services that are hardcore, set in stone. You must follow from A to Z. These processes, frameworks, whatever they are, that a model, whatever it happens to be, they are around to provide you with structure. That structure comes with freedom to adapt, revise, implement however you need to do it, because every instance is going to be unique. Who you work with, what type of course you're creating, what type of content you're creating, how you support your people, whether it's in a group or face-to-face or you're one-on-one, all of that changes how you implement this. The same thing for the stuff, the brain science and the brain processes and the brain frameworks that Jim teaches. So loved it. He called it out. It is something that I talk about. I just haven't used that particular language in the past. So I will definitely be hanging on to that as a little post-it note for myself as well. And then at the end, Alexis Bank, who is the Kwik Brains CEO, she was giving us kind of a precursor for their big conference that they hold, which, if I understood correct today, I think it's happening in March now. But they already, when I did some searching to find out where this came from, the success formula in and of itself has been shared over and over, all over when you check on the internet. But it's the be, do, and have. What the Kwik Brains and Jim Kwik and his team and all of them have added, from what I've deduced on my quick research here, that they've added the share part of it, because it's that what you learn and what you experience and that act of sharing it forward that really helps solidify the ideas. It goes along with that idea that when you learn something to teach someone else the same thing, you own the concept. I can speak to that as a computer science educator. Every year I was adapting stuff. Every summer I was off at workshops and learning different things and immersing myself in new approaches to teaching and implementing this stuff. And the best way for me to own those concepts was to start teaching it that way and to start using it. So you got to change that limiting belief. You're targeting what is the limiting belief that we're trying to fix, address. Then it's the do, which is consistent of the learning and experimenting, and then they've separated out that consistency. The learning and experimenting is that iterative and incremental loop where you are revising it. It's pretty much the scientific or the engineering approach where you're going to just keep testing and testing and testing. Make a change, test, make a change, test until you have something that's a success, and then do it consistently until you own it and until you have it. And that's when you can start intensifying it and then start sharing it forward. So this success formula, the Kwik Style is the way I dubbed it here, but I love that with the share because it aligns with the same process of what I work. Again, it's that ideation, the implementation, and then the moving it forward or launching it out, and then you come back around and you just keep cycling through the process. So absolutely loved that quick share. And this was towards the very, very end. He shared this little nugget as well, and as he described the approach that they promote with and in terms of AI, it aligns with the approach I've been using, where I work with AI. I use it to fine-tune and revise and tweak and think differently about what it is I'm doing. And it really is, instead of the artificial intelligence, let's make it augmented intelligence, where we are enhancing what we're doing, not using it as a crutch, using it to do our thinking for us so that we don't have to think even more. Instead, enhance, refine, improve our way of thinking. So thank you so much for those of you that have joined me the last 3 days as I have shared my takeaways. I absolutely love that Jim Kwik's approach to the brain and how he helps people learn how to learn aligns with the work that I do within the Course Impact Institute as I'm helping people level up their courses, their programs, their products, whatever you call it, and really focusing on that impact. What can we deliver? How can we deliver more? How can we support our Delias more? If you missed that, they're out on my blog, and actually if you go to LinkedIn you can get it there quicker, but I just posted an article introducing who Delia is. I will be in video creation mode Friday, I think is when I have that dubbed, and so I will be getting a YouTube video down below here as well on who Delia is. Until then, thank you so much again for joining me, and I look forward to getting to know you. And please do reach out, share if you attended the summit as well, the Limitless Summit, Limitless Learner Summit. Please do share your takeaways. I would love to hear those and think about and engage in conversations with others that are familiar with it, and especially in terms of how it applies to our supporting of Delias. Take care.